Greetings from Rhode Island, the 13th state, admitted to the Union on May 29, 1790. It has a little over 1 million residents, making it the 43rd most populous state.
We're the tiniest.
At 1,045 square miles, you could fit about 250 Rhode Islands into Texas.
Small state, you can drive right through it in 45 minutes. You can be in Massachusetts and drive right through and be in Connecticut in 45 minutes, so it's very unique.
Not everything in this state is small. Its official name, the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, is the longest in the nation. Besides, there are more important things than size in Rhode Island.
There are low-numbered license plates that have been in families in this state literally for generations.
My mother took over my grandfather's plate because it was 200.
This one hasn't been changed in about 20 years. They haven't given me a new plate.
There are people who will buy numbers from other people, and they'll pay more than they did for their cars.
In 1986, lucky number 7 went for $25,000. But Rhode Island drivers have another more dubious distinction. According to a national road safety test conducted by an insurance company, the drivers here are officially the worst in the U.S.
I think I'm a great driver. Everybody else is a bad driver.
They don't use directionals. We call them blinkers in Rhode Island, and they don't use directionals.
To be fair, however, most Rhode Islanders don't actually spend enough time in their cars to get very good at it.
Very often, people will go down to the shore from the northern part of the state, which is, again, about 40 to 50 miles tops, and they will stay overnight because it's too far to drive.
Maybe having all that natural beauty right in your backyard has something to do with it. Rhode Island is beautiful, but its contribution to this nation's economy cannot be overstated.
The Industrial Revolution started in Rhode Island.
And it started with Samuel Slater in 1790.
He established a factory system. Instead of working on farms to make textiles, people were brought in, there were machines. He was using the water power of the Blackstone River and the labor of a number of people in the same place at the same time working on the same machines. That was the first time that had been done in America.
100 years before Slater's factory, there was another figure in Rhode Island's history who was an even more radical thinker. Roger Williams was one of many thousands who left Britain to escape the tyranny of the Church of England. Landing at Boston in 1631, Williams was dismayed to see that the Puritans were no better. They had come to the New World seeking religious freedom, but were now forcing other colonists to become Christians and worship as Puritans. As a minister in Salem, Williams spoke out against such hypocritical practices from the pulpit.
And in so doing, the magistrates, the authorities in Boston, brought him up on charges for having new and dangerous opinions against the authority of the magistrates. That was a crime.
Roger Williams was thrown out of Massachusetts Bay Colony because he was a rabble-rouser. He wanted more religious freedom, political freedom, freedom of speech, and he said they didn't have it in Massachusetts.
There was no place in the civilized world where the principles of religious freedom were being honored. So Roger Williams decided to create such a place. He called it Providence.
People could come here, worship however they wanted to, or not go to any church services at all. You have people from every religious background coming here and finding a sanctuary. This was what Rhode Island was founded on.
There was a brief period around the turn of the 20th century when Rhode Island's principles seemed to take a back seat to something more alluring: the pursuit and display of wealth. The High Society of Newport was created by the quintessential grand dame of the Gilded Age, Mrs. Astor. Some of the most impressive summer homes were owned by the Vanderbilts, America's wealthiest family. Marble House was an $11 million birthday present to Alba Vanderbilt in 1892, and the Breakers, completed in 1895, was far and away the largest home built in Newport.
These mansions may have 40, 50, 60,000 square feet inside, and yet they're on postage stamps of land. It's sort of an odd tract housing kind of concept, and it's because they're trying to show you just how much money they have.
They would have unbelievably extravagant events. The Astors had a party in which there was a sandbox in the middle of the dining room, and the guests could sit in the sandbox and dig for diamonds and rubies.
The grandeur, however, didn't last. By the 1920s, taxes had whittled away at the vast fortunes. 1/3 of the Newport mansions were torn down. Yet it would have been worse if not for the city's historical societies, which set out to preserve these architectural treasures.
We could have seen wonderful millionaire miles in several cities on the East Coast. They're gone, they've been redeveloped, but they're still here in Newport, and they've become an incredibly valuable historical resource.
Look here, I'm talking about America, sweet America.